Look up at the night sky at 3 a.m. While the world sleeps, a massive, unmarked Boeing 747 is cutting through the clouds at 40,000 feet. It carries no passengers, no flight attendants, no complimentary drinks. Inside its hollow belly, 100 tons of high-value electronics, fast fashion garments, and fresh organs awaiting transplant. But here is the real mystery. The logo painted on the side of that plane says Amazon Prime Air. Yet, Amazon does not own this plane, Amazon did not hire the pilots, and Amazon isn't even running the flight operations. Instead, a shadow corporation you have never heard of is pulling the strings, banking millions of dollars per hour while taking absolutely none of the retail risk. Welcome to the world of wet leasing. The most lucrative hidden business model in modern aviation, where the real billionaires don't sell products, they sell capacity. By the end of this video, you will look at every package delivered to your doorstep differently. You will discover how these shadow cargo airlines manipulate global trade routes, why they intentionally fly half-empty jets, and how they use a bizarre legal loophole called ACMI to guarantee profits. Even when the global economy is crashing, the global air cargo industry is a massive $600 billion juggernaut. It represents less than 1% of global trade by volume, but over 35% of it by value. Think about that. The rarest, most expensive, and most time-sensitive items on Earth must fly. Most people look at a cargo plane and just see a flying delivery truck. Investors, however, see something completely different. They see an asset that generates cash 24 hours a day without the emotional headache of dealing with human passengers. But how does an ordinary company scale up to compete in this playground of giants? The answer lies in a hidden ownership model that defies normal business logic. To understand the money, you have to understand the acronym. SCMI: aircraft, crew, maintenance, and insurance. When an e-commerce giant or a global freight forwarder needs to move goods, they don't go out and buy a $200 million jet. That's an operational nightmare. Instead, they turn to ACMI operators, companies like Atlas Air or Air Transport Services Group. Under this model, the shadow operator provides the actual aircraft, the highly trained crew, the heavy maintenance, and the legal insurance. The client, they just pay for the fuel and the landing fees. This creates a beautiful, frictionless cash flow. The shadow operator gets guaranteed revenue based on block hours flown, completely insulated from fluctuating fuel prices. They don't care if the retail market softens. They get paid the exact same amount, whether that plane is full of gold or full of air. But how do these operators maximize their returns? It comes down to asymmetric pricing. During normal periods, cargo airlines rely on long-term, multi-year ACMI contracts. This is their predictable, boring baseline revenue. But then comes peak season, Q4, the madness of Black Friday and Christmas. This is where the real fortune is made. The airline holds back a portion of their fleet for the charter market. When a major tech company realizes their new smartphone launch is delayed, and they must get millions of devices from factories in Shenzhen to shelves in Chicago in 48 hours. Panic sets in. The spot market rate for a single trans-Pacific flight can skyrocket from $400,000 to over $1.5 million for one single flight. The cargo airline holds all the cards. They don't charge by the weight, they charge by the cube. If your item takes up space, you pay for the entire volume regardless of how light it is. Yet running a shadow empire isn't cheap. The barriers to entry are devastatingly high. A single heavy maintenance check, known in the industry as a D-check, can take a cargo plane out of service for a month and cost upwards of several $1 million. Every hour a plane sits on the tarmac, it is burning cash. Then there is the crew issue. Cargo pilots fly brutal schedules. They sleep during the day, fly through intense nighttime storms, and constantly battle circadian rhythm disruption. Keeping them certified and rested is a massive compliance expense. Furthermore, governments heavily regulate nighttime airport slots. If a cargo airline misses its strict 2-minute landing window at a major hub like Frankfurt or Anchorage, they face tens of thousands of dollars in penalties. But the most brutal hidden expense? Ground handling. Loading 100 tons of delicate cargo requires specialized, multi-million-dollar automated loading systems. One wrong move by a forklift operator can puncture a fuselage, grounding a $50 million asset instantly. So how do these operators reach billion-dollar valuations? It's all about the network effect and asset reincarnation. Instead of buying brand new cargo planes from Boeing, these genius operators buy old, retired passenger planes for a fraction of the cost. They take a 15-year-old passenger jet, rip out the seats, reinforce the floorboards, cut a massive cargo door into the side, and give it a second life. This keeps their capital expenditure incredibly low while their earning potential remains high. As they scale, they build global hubs. If an Atlas Air plane breaks down in Tokyo, they already have a spare engine and a crew waiting there. A smaller competitor would be ruined by the logistical delay. This network scale creates an unbreakable moat. The bigger they get, the more reliable they become, and in the supply chain world, reliability is worth any price, but even the strongest empires have vulnerabilities. The biggest threat to this business isn't a lack of demand, it's the volatility of global trade policy. If two superpowers decide to engage in a sudden tariff war, trade lanes can dry up overnight. A route that brought in millions last week can suddenly become completely illegal or unprofitable. There is also the rising threat of belly cargo. Every time you fly on a standard passenger airline, right beneath your feet in the cargo hold are thousands of pounds of commercial freight. Passenger airlines sell this extra space incredibly cheap because the passengers are already covering the flight's core cost. If passenger travel spikes globally, the market is flooded with cheap belly capacity, putting immense pressure on dedicated cargo airlines. The future of this industry, however, looks straight out of science fiction. We are moving rapidly toward autonomous cargo operations. Think about it. Public perception makes autonomous passenger flights incredibly difficult to implement. People are terrified of flying without a human pilot. But boxes don't care if there is an AI flying the plane. Cargo airlines will likely be the very first to adopt fully uncrewed, long-haul autonomous flights. This will instantly eliminate their highest operational friction point: pilot salaries, crew rest mandates, and human error. The shadow operators who own the software and the autonomous infrastructure will control the flow of human civilization. The next time you order something online and see it arrive at your door within 24 hours, take a moment to look past the logo on the cardboard. Realize that beneath the surface of global consumerism lies an invisible network of shadow airlines. They don't care about your comfort. They don't care about destination vacation spots. They operate in the dark, turning logistics into pure, unadulterated financial alchemy. They are the true architects of our modern, instant gratification world, flying millions of tons of assets through the midnight sky, capitalizing on the chaos of human demand. The future of this industry, however, looks straight out of science fiction. We are moving rapidly toward fully autonomous, uncrewed cargo operations. Think about the psychology here. Public perception makes autonomous passenger flights incredibly difficult to implement.